It's all gone. Everything is gone.
Just read this morning that Texas farmers are closing down because they can't find laborers to work their fields. Are you telling me white people can't, won't work in the fields? Hey, all of you who thought they were taking your jobs, accepting applications now.
This is terrifying. What? Farmers across America are going bankrupt. They're calling it Farmageddon. Good. Serves them right for supporting Trump. You still don't get it, do you? Where do you buy food? The grocery store? And you think food prices are bad now? Just wait. Tariffs have decimated farmers. What do you think happens when you start ridiculous trade wars with other countries? They get mad? Yeah, understatement. China's the world's top soybean buyer, and soybeans alone brought in $13 billion for American farmers last year. Now those sales, almost all gone. Yikes. And that's not all. These immigration crackdowns, some farms lost 100% of their workers, all kidnapped by ICE. Now, how do you pick food without workers? You can't. It's rotting in the field. Whoa. Plus, seeds, feeds, machinery, potash, pesticides, all more expensive than ever before. Then you add on high interest rates, and what do you get? Farmageddon? Bingo. And farmers were already 3 times more likely to die by suicide. Ugh.
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war. And in more breaking news, nobody cares. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's some of you too, but as far as farmers sounding the alarm, I don't care. I have to admit, I don't care at all, because the last time Donald Trump was president, 100,000 farmers across the country lost their farms. Yeah. So, overwhelmingly, farmers voted for this man again, knowing full well of his history the last time he was president. So, from me to you, farmers, I don't care. I don't care how bad things get for you. I don't care if you lose your farm. I don't care if I don't care. At least I don't care to hear about it. I really don't. Because this is exactly what you voted for. And you're going to get what you voted for. You're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump not giving a damn about farmers whatsoever. So, enjoy.
Seeing a lot of cattle farmers and farmers in general online crying today, and I'm sorry to tell you, but I think the United States government is trying to bankrupt farmers. I think they're trying to bankrupt farmers because you all won't be able to pay your note, because you're not going to be able to sell that cattle like you did last year. You're not selling any soybean because China has went to a totally different market, but you still owe your bank notes. I think they are intentionally trying to bankrupt you so that they can come and purchase your farms from the banks. When the banks say, give us our money, we don't care what's happening in it. What your problem was, you wanted to own the libs instead of owning your farm. You voted for hate instead of voting to keep your farm. My reality is, even if you make it out of this with your farm, when the elections come next year, you're still going to vote for the same thing, because you're only concerned with how things affect you. To hell with the rest of us. Thoughts and prayers.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have 2 candidates, where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways? And I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
I got to farm with my dad every day. It's a way of life. It's a wonderful way of life. And it's at risk. And it shouldn't be.
The impact of Trump's tariffs is being felt in the heartland.
Soybean farmers here are now suffering economically like they haven't in decades.
Right now we are harvesting soybeans in Marengo, Illinois. My family has been farming since 1846. I'm the 5th generation. We're a grain operation. We grow corn, soybeans. I am a product of the pioneers. It's history. You don't let that go. One of the best memories that I had was just my dad teaching me how to drive a tractor. I got to farm with my dad every day. It was pretty cool. How many people could do that? It's a way of life. It's a wonderful way of life. And it's at risk. And it shouldn't be. It's total bullshit. Human lives are at stake. It's stupid. The whole thing is stupid.
I'm very proud of him. He's done a great job. He's kind. He's very caring. He cares about other people. I didn't really want him to be a farmer. When my husband got sick, he asked if he could take over the farm. He said, "Mom, give me 3 years. Just give me 3 years." So that's what we did, and it's turned into 16 years.
Harvest is usually the best time of the year. It's literally the fruits of your labor. This is the time where we as farmers get to celebrate all of our hard work and that we get paid for our year's worth of work. And unfortunately, this one has a real bitter taste to it because the money is being spent right now in Argentina and being given to billionaires. Farming is hard enough as it is, dealing with Mother Nature, but this year especially is very challenging because of the tariffs that have been put upon us. Our cost of production has increased and our markets have dropped dramatically. And this is really putting a major strain on all farmers right now. If anybody who's not a farmer and they say, well, what do I care about what's happening with farmers? What does that matter? Well, in Illinois, 20% of all jobs revolve around agriculture. And when farmers have money, we spend it, and we spend it on really big high-ticket items like combines or tractors, all of whom are made in major Rust Belt areas. And those are really high-paying, good jobs, and that trickles down to the waitresses who get better tips, to our schools because people have more income, the schools get better funded. And right now, we're just in a major holding pattern because we have no income. The American people are hurting right now. The farmers are hurting right now. There is absolutely no reason for this.
Our grain prices are down. We have tariffs. We have a bumper crop. We don't have people to sell it to. China hasn't bought one of our beans. We don't have those markets anymore because of the tariffs.
I'm looking at the commodity prices and where they're at, which is how I get paid. I'm having a real difficult time trying to give a positive outlook for 2026. When President Obama was in office, we had a wonderful jolt of energy because we had an administration that said, we're going to have advanced biofuels power our country. And then Trump got in there and decided to have his trade wars again and everything else, and to roll back all those environmental protections, and the ag economy started to tank. Joe Biden gets in there again. Hey, we're going to have advanced biofuels. We're going to have airline fuel that comes from corn-based ethanol. What happened? Prices went up again, up to an all-time high, right where they were. Trump gets back in there again. We're going to have a trade war, and boom, prices are tanking again.
President Trump is said to be considering a bailout of at least $10 billion for farmers. That may be too little too late.
We don't want a bailout. We want a market. Bailouts are Band-Aids. We aren't even made whole off of this. That's money that should be going towards senior citizens. That's money that should be going for the Affordable Care Act. That's money that should just be going to regular tax cuts for normal Americans and not billionaires. What he is doing is destroying our markets. And when those markets disappear, we're not going to get them back. We need to have a new policy. We need to have an ag policy that works for farmers again. And we know what works. We have to be able to make a living doing this. The years that we do the best are when our products are in demand. And our products, overwhelmingly for the history of this country, are in demand when we have a strong export market. And we have to keep those markets alive. We have to do that. And this administration isn't doing that. People came to this country for opportunity. Opportunity equal land. And we're giving that up. And it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Part of the reason why the greatness of this nation is because we take care of people, and there's values of the family farm that need to be upheld. And it's good for America.
Texas, help this make sense. Okay. Right now, gas is $4.19 a gallon in Texas, where I live. 6 months ago, that same gallon of gas was $2.65 for an increase of 55% over the past 180 days. Okay, I'm from Washington State, so I'm going to compare it to Washington. Right now, in Washington, the average price for a gallon of gas is $5.75, okay? 6 months ago, the price of that gallon of gas was about $4.50 for a 35% increase over the past 180 days. Okay, so for the average 15 gallons of gas, let's just say 15 gallons of gas is filling up your car for average. That 15 gallons of gas is going to cost somebody in Texas about $63. The same 15 gallons is going to cost someone in Washington State $86, okay? So why does Texas have a 55% increase over Washington's 35% increase in gas over the last 180 days? That's my first question. My second question, I want to address the minimum wage. Minimum wage in Texas is $7.25. $7.25. The minimum wage in Washington State, $17.13 approximately. You know what that difference is? That's a difference of $9.88 an hour more. $9.88 an hour more, or 2.3 times higher minimum wage in Washington State, okay? So for someone in Texas to buy that 15 gallons of gas, it's going to cost them 9 hours of work approximately. They're going to work 9 hours at that minimum wage for that gas, that tank of gas. In Washington, for that same 15 gallons of gas, they're going to work 5.5 hours, okay? 9 hours, 5.5 hours approximately. The last minimum wage increase in Texas was in 2009. That is 17 years ago since there has been a state minimum wage increase, a cost of living increase, anything, 17 years. Meanwhile, in Washington State, in the last 17 years, they've had 17 minimum wage increases, meaning about one a year the minimum wage goes up, and their next increase is scheduled for January of 2027. So why in the hell, why Texas, are you guys still living in wages from 2009? $7.25 an hour in the minimum wage. when prices are going up exponentially here more so than other places. Texas has the highest property taxes in the United States, one of the highest at least. And my car insurance for perfect driving is the most expensive I've ever paid. In fact, people with DUI insurance in Washington State pay less than I do for car insurance with a perfect driving record. So I need somebody to explain this to me. Why is gas going up so much more in Texas than other places? And why in the hell is nobody in Texas voting to increase this minimum wage, $7.25. I want to know who is living on that and what is going on, Texas. Please, somebody make this make sense to me.
Hey MAGA, did you hear that Donald Trump and his tariffs are absolutely decimating the soybean industry in this country? Yeah, our main buyer of soybeans is China, and because of the tariffs, they haven't bought a single one all year. This isn't hurting China. They're getting their soybeans from somewhere else. This is hurting American farmers. To the tune that Donald Trump wants to give them a $10 billion bailout. How does socialism sound now? Because the longer this goes on, China's not going to come back to the table. They're going to get used to getting their soybeans cheaper from somewhere else. And they ain't going to want to deal with the American system anymore. So congratulations, MAGA. You elected a man that bankrupted casinos, and now he's going to bankrupt the breadbasket of America. And the worst part about it is, this isn't the first time it happened. It happened during his last administration. And the people that were affected by it then, 77% of them still voted for him again. And those of you that did, no bailouts. You deserve what you get.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients. And I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening. With the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvest, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the...
Farmers don't have enough fertilizer because of the war in Iran. 1/4 of all farmers don't have the fertilizer they need for planting season right now. which means there's going to be potential interruptions to our food supply later this year. And this is on top of the fact that 46% of all farms filed for bankruptcy last year because they didn't have enough money. And that's on top of the fact that less than half of all farms are going to show a profit, which means more bankruptcies will come because they didn't make enough money to make ends meet. Do y'all understand that if these farms close and one company buys them all up, our food prices will go through the roof? There'll be no more competition. It'll be one company running it all, and everything will skyrocket, and we won't have a choice. There'll be no competition, so we can only buy our food from this one person if they own all the farms. And that's what they're trying to do. You know, farmers aren't struggling because it's a hard job. They're struggling because somebody's trying to eradicate them. And that's the craziest thing, y'all. I don't think enough people are talking about this. What are we supposed to do when the cheapest food, like leafy greens and stuff, is $10? Because this is what the company wants to charge because they run all the farms. We can't live like this. JD Vance has stock in a company called Acre Traders, where they buy failing farms and convert them into other things like parking garages, lots for like commercial projects and things like strip malls, all that craziness. It's any old thing. They can just do whatever they want with it. Why would the vice president be a part of that? And now farmers are failing. You know, Trump and Elon cut all those programs that Biden put in place to try to help the farmers make more money, to try to help them make their farming more sustainable and stuff. They cut all those programs, and now all those farmers are left holding the bill. I know y'all gonna be like, oh, they voted for this. I understand that. This is about me. This is about my food. I clearly like to eat. What am I? And I understand I need to lose weight, so let me get my vegetables then. I need my vegetables. I need my fresh fruit. We need that just to be healthy, and that's now questionable because Republicans are pushing for conglomerates. This is a real problem, and I'm hoping more people become privy to it and realize that they are playing in our faces. They have no intent of making life better. They only intend to make themselves richer. And it's a really scary thing, y'all. And again, I'm not trying to fearmonger, but this one here is concerning to me.
So they asked the undocumented immigrants to leave America, and they left. And the farmers were happy for that, you know. They wanted that, and it happened. And so after a very short time, they're now complaining about not being able to do their work, and they're losing their profits, they're losing their everything. All the money that they put into their work, into their farms, is now getting lost because they're unable to do the work by themselves. They're unable to get people or laborers to work for them on the farms. And I caught wind of the fact that they thought that by sending away the undocumented immigrants, the black people will fight for those jobs and actually work on their farms. Now, this is not surprising because black people knew about that and they had talked about it, you know. They caught wind of that and they talked about it, discussed it here on the internet and said, you see, these people, you're asking the undocumented immigrants to leave, but just know that while those people are leaving, we are not going to be working on your farms. Now, white people did not believe that, you know. They knew that maybe they are going to work with the government to make sure that black people are desperate enough to go and work on their farms. How did they do that? They made sure that, you see, President Trump, the way that he's doing his things, he made sure that he's pushing the economy too hard on people such that the jobs that they're doing are not enough. And for those that are not exactly employed, they will have to find jobs because then they cannot exist without jobs in these difficult economic times. Now, black people had vowed, they had promised that they are not going to be working on those farms. White people knew that they always have control and they will manipulate their ways into making black people work on their farms. Turns out that black people actually meant everything, every single word that they said. They said they will not work on those farms and they have not showed up to work on their farms. The government has tried to push black people to the wall, you know, push them to the extent where they feel like they do not have money and they need to find jobs, and one of the jobs they can find is working on the white farms. Now black people said whatever happens, at whatever cost, they're not going to work on those farms, and they have proven that to this point. Now white farmers are now desperate because they do not have people to work on their farms. Look at them, you've seen them in the videos. Their produce is getting rotten on the farms because they cannot take it to the market. The very hardworking black people, the very hardworking white people that they call themselves, they're unable to work on their own farms, which is supposed to bring them their own money. They're unable to do that, and they're calling on black people to now work for them. And if they do not willingly come to work on their farms, they want President Trump or whatever government people to bring and force black people to work for them on their farms, because they're losing money, they're losing cash, they're losing their sweat and everything they put in those farms. Crazy, if you ask me. So they are in disbelief because black people have not hesitated to tell them again that they're not going to do it. They might be facing a lot of challenges in terms of money issues, economy is bad, things are very expensive, life is just unbearably expensive. But they have made sure that they are sticking to their word. They said they will not work on those farms, and they're not doing it. Now, the only thing that disturbs me in this situation is the fact that why is it that these people keep calling black people very lazy, that they do not like to work, they want free things, they want government aid, they want, welfare, they want food stamps, they're always fighting for free things. Now, that makes them the very hardworking people. Why aren't they able to work on their own farms? When they coming together to work on those farms and make sure that everything is running smooth, the way that those illegal undocumented immigrants were working. Yeah, you see, when someone is doing something for you, it usually looks as though it's easy, as though it's a must for them to do that. These undocumented immigrants were being paid a very low pay. Yeah, if you ask me, that was not money that was worthy of the work that they were doing. Working on the farms is very draining, it's very hard. You work so hard, you sweat so hard, and it's heavy work that it's not a child's play. Now when they do that work, because they have been doing it for years and years, white people think that it's easy. Yeah, they think that whatever pay they're giving them is okay. Yeah, the only reason these people are not complaining about the payment was the fact that they do not have better, and they cannot report the injustices that they're being done to any police station, because then they will be found out to not have documents and be deported. That is exactly why they were not complaining. But I'm sure they did not like the kind of payment that they were being given. Now white people thought that they can just walk on these people and do whatever it is they want to do to them. And what they made, the biggest mistake that they made was now asking President Trump to deport these people. And he did, because that was in their own interest, and that is exactly what they have always wanted. They did not want white people, they do not want that kind of interaction, and they thought these people are actually taking their jobs. That is exactly the point, that these undocumented immigrants were taking their jobs. Now, the people left, and the jobs are there. The white people still are there. They should be taking those jobs. Why aren't they taking the jobs? They said those people are taking their jobs. Why aren't they now taking those jobs themselves? That's a question for you to ask yourself, because that is exactly the point that they were trying to pass across before, yeah, when they wanted the undocumented immigrants to leave. Now, a few weeks later, they're asking President Trump to return the undocumented immigrants so that they can work on their farms, because they're losing a lot of money. Shameless, yeah? Because how do you do that? You think this is a whole human being. These are human beings. They have families. They're respected where they come from. You do not just want to keep bouncing people up and down like that. They have things to do. They have a life to live. They deserve respect. You cannot just be asking them to, 1 minute leave this place, we don't want you here. The next minute come back, sit here, do this. No, you cannot be controlling people like that. It's not that era anymore. And wherever those undocumented immigrants are watching me from, because they were given an opportunity to come back on some visa, I forget the name, And they were given an opportunity to come back and serve for, was it $1 to $7 an hour? You see, that's even lower than what they were being paid initially before they left. And you look at white people and think the audacity that these people have, the audacity to think that you're going to re-employ someone and pay them lower than you used to pay them after every disrespect that you have done to them and them being deported and all the shame and all the embarrassment. They need this job. They have been needing it, and you knew that they do need it. You are paying them low. That was enough reason to just let them be. They have accepted the low pay, and then now you go ahead and just want to make them very desperate, asking for President Trump to deport them. He did. I hope that you are happy now. You are supposed to be very happy and celebrating right now. Sadly, now they are here making videos of how they want those guys to come back because their farms, they are unable to work on their farms. They're very hardworking people that America has. They're unable to work on their own farms for their own produce, their own profit, their own money, their own economy. It doesn't make any sense. White people sometimes are jokers, I would say, because why would you do something that is so thoughtless? Yeah. How were you reasoning at that point before you asked these people to leave? What was the plan? Okay, you thought white or black people were going to work for you. They said they were not going to work for you. What was your plan B? It's crazy. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Furaha. I hope that you have enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you on my channel more often. Please consider subscribing if that is to happen. Returning subscribers, thank you so much guys for the support, for everything that you do for me, for talking in the comment section and engaging, interacting. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot to me and to this channel. I hope that you're also keeping safe from wherever you're watching me from, guys. I really love you, and I pray that everything works out for you today as you have always wished. So I will see you on my next video. Bye for now.